You ever get that feeling, like late at night, when it feels like the whole world is on your shoulders?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do a deep dive today
Okay.
into an article called How Can Single Parents Find Strength in God's Promises?
Okay.
It
Yeah.
really hit home for me, especially on those nights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all about finding that support through
Yeah.
your faith when you're feeling anything bitty T supported.
It's so funny you should say that because the article starts off with this verse that just drives that point home.
Uh-huh.
It's Psalm 68.5.
Okay.
God is the father of the fatherless and defender of widows.
I remember when I read that, I was like, okay, I'm not technically a widow, B-U-T.
Right, but that feeling,
Yeah.
that vulnerability,
Yeah.
feeling alone when you have so much responsibility,
Yeah.
that resonates, right? And the article points out that God steps into that space. He sees you in those moments when you're like, can I do this?
Yeah.
And he offers himself as strength.
It's like he's saying, I got you,
Yeah.
which is exactly what you need to hear on those tough days.
Yeah.
Speaking of support, the article makes this comparison to a loving spouse.
Yeah.
You know, that feeling of relief when your partner comes home and you can finally share the load.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Right. And the article suggests that God's love is even deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's that constant, unwavering support that lifts you up when you're completely drained.
You know, it reminds me of this time when my youngest was sick and I was up all night with him. I was exhausted by morning, both physically and emotionally.
Mm.
And then I read this verse from Isaiah,
Oh, wow.
Isaiah 40.29. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. It was like this wave of peace just washed over me.
That's beautiful. Isaiah was writing to a community that had been through a lot: hardship, exile, loss, uncertainty.
Right.
And he's offering this promise of God sustaining them,
Yeah.
lifting them up when they feel like they can't go on.
Yeah,
That's a powerful message for single parents who feel like they're carrying the weight of the world.
absolutely. The article then goes on to talk about how much our peace or our lack of peace
Yeah.
impacts our kids. It's like they have this sixth sense
Yeah.
for our stress level.
Totally. Children are so attuned to their parents' emotional states.
Mm-hmm.
And the article says that a single parent's peace, especially when it's rooted in faith, creates a calmer atmosphere for the whole family.
I remember reading that and thinking, okay, that sounds amazing in theory,
Right.
but how do I do that? How do I find peace when there's piles of laundry and dinner isn't made and the kids are arguing?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard. The article suggests that instead of trying to muscle through it all on our own,
Yeah.
we turn to God. He's the one who offers true peace. And that's where Psalm 46.10 comes in.
Okay.
Be still and know that I am God.
That verse always makes me think about trying to meditate
Yeah.
when my kids are running around like tiny tornadoes.
Right.
It's a struggle, to say the least.
It is. But the idea is not about being perfectly still. It's about surrendering that need to control and allowing God's peace to just enter the situation.
Yeah.
It's about knowing we don't have to do it all ourselves. It's huge.
It is.
Really is.
It is. Okay, so how do we take that idea of surrendering control and make it practical?
Right.
Because let's face it, as single parents, we're kind of programmed to be in control mode all the time.
That's true. The article suggests praying over your children.
Oh, but
And I don't mean like a quick prayer before bed. I'm talking about inviting God into those moments.
Yeah.
When you feel like you're at your wit's end.
Yeah.
When you just don't know how you're going to handle it all.
You mean like when my 5-year-old is having a meltdown in the checkout line at the grocery store?
Exactly. Like when you just want to pull your hair out,
Yeah.
that's when you need to remember you don't have to handle it alone.
Okay.
You can ask God for strength, wisdom, peace to just flow into the situation.
It's like hitting the pause button on the chaos and saying, okay, God, I need backup.
Exactly. And the article talks about making prayer a conversation with God,
Uh-huh.
not just a last resort.
Okay.
Share your struggles, your joys, your needs, and trust that His presence will make a difference in your parenting.
I love that. Speaking of struggles,
Yeah.
the article talks about discipline, which I think every single parent can relate to.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so overwhelming when you're the only one having to set boundaries and correct behavior.
And you feel like you have to be the perfect disciplinarian.
Right.
But God doesn't expect us to do it alone. The article reminds us of that. 1 Corinthians 10.13 says, "No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it."
So it's not about never messing up or always knowing the right way to discipline.
Right.
It's about acknowledging we're human.
Yeah.
We will mess up,
Yeah.
but God is there to guide us through it.
He's got your back.
That's like having a divine co-parent.
Exactly. The article says God is involved in our children's lives, guiding them, correcting them, loving them,
Hmm.
and we get to partner with him in that. It's not about perfection. It's about trusting God is working in our kids, even when we can't see it.
This next point really resonated with me. It's about knowing that true strength doesn't come from trying to be a superhero parent.
Oh, yeah.
It comes from relying on God's strength.
And the article uses Galatians to make this point. Galatians 2:21, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me.
I have to admit, when I first read that, I was like, whoa, that's deep.
It is.
But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. It's about surrendering our ego and our own limitations and letting Christ's power work through us.
Exactly. You don't have to have it all figured out. You can bring all of it to God, your imperfections, your fears, your exhaustion, and he will meet you right where you are.
That's so powerful.
He doesn't expect you to be perfect. He just wants you to rely on him.
It's like they say, let go and let God.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, though, right?
Oh, tell me about it. Especially when you're a single parent and you feel like everything depends on you. That's why I think this article is so powerful. It acknowledges how hard it is to be a single parent, but also offers hope and strength that's always available.
Right.
It's not about denying the struggle. It's about going through it with God by your side.
It's interesting, isn't it? We were talking about letting go.
Yeah.
And I just keep thinking about how much pressure we put on ourselves as single parents.
It's true. We try to overcompensate for being just one person.
Right. Like we have to be mom and dad and
Mm.
provider and the one who disciplines and cheers them on.
Ah, it's exhausting.
It is. But you know what I'm hearing from this article?
What's that?
It doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
We don't have to carry it all alone. God wants to help. He wants to be that strength when we're about to break.
Yeah. It's not about being some kind of super parent. It's about trusting God's plan. He's working through our kids even when we don't see it. And knowing that, it brings peace.
And that peace makes such a difference, doesn't it? I know for me, once I let go of trying to be perfect and let God lead, it was like this weight was lifted.
Oh, yeah. That peace, it changes everything. And it's not just for us. It spreads into our homes, our relationships with our kids.
Yeah.
They feel it. And it creates a more loving environment.
So if you're listening to this, no matter where you are in your faith,
Yeah.
I hope this deep dive has given you a new way to look at parenting with God by your side. It's not about knowing everything or doing everything right. It's about showing up every day,
Yeah.
being there for your kids, and trusting God will give you what you need to handle it all.
I love that. If you take away one thing from this, let it be this. You are not alone. God sees you. He knows your struggles, and he promises to be your strength when you need it. Hold on to that promise. Invite him into the messiness, the chaos, the beauty of being a single parent. You'll be amazed by what you find.
That's a great way to put it. Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive today.
I enjoyed it.
Me too. Until next time, take care and keep the faith.